The once perfect orange empire is trembling. McLaren, who for months looked like the only team capable of ending Red Bull's dominance, has found itself fighting not only the RB21 on track, but also chaos within its own garage. The United States Grand Prix was supposed to solidify their championship charge. Instead, it turned into a weekend of tension, mistrust, and accusations. Norris and Piastri, two drivers once hailed as the future of McLaren, collided both literally and emotionally, leaving team boss Zak Brown with no choice but to open a full internal investigation into what went wrong. It's a crisis that could define the remainder of this championship and perhaps even McLaren's long-term future. Because when a team starts choosing sides in the middle of a title race, it rarely ends well. So before we dive deeper into what really triggered this investigation, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story could reshape the 2025 F1 season as we know it. Let's break it down. McLaren's internal investigation didn't just appear out of thin air. It's the result of weeks, perhaps months, of silent tension building inside the Papaya camp. What started as an awkward moment in Singapore has evolved into a full-blown internal storm that now threatens to derail the team's title ambitions. The flashpoint came when Lando Norris forced Oscar Piastri wide at Turn 1 in Singapore, a move that was as aggressive as it was controversial. At the time, McLaren brushed it off as just hard racing. But internally, sources say that wasn't the end of it. Zak Brown promised the repercussions, and those consequences finally arrived in the form of a quiet but a serious disciplinary response. McLaren has now launched a major internal investigation, not just into that specific incident, but into the broader culture of how its two drivers race each other. According to several reports, the supposed punishment for Norris is subtle but significant. For the remainder of the season, Piastri will have priority in qualifying sessions. That means he gets to decide whether he goes out before or after. Norris, a small detail that can actually have big consequences. Track, evolution, tire temperature, and the timing can make the difference between pole position and failure in the high-stakes world of F1. That's no minor privilege. However, the irony is that this punishment doesn't seem to have slowed Norris down. At the United States Grand Prix, he qualified ahead of Piastri once again, and even lined up alongside Verstappen on the front row. His pace was electric. He might not have won, but it was a statement drive proof that his confidence remains unshaken. For a driver supposedly under internal review, Lando looked more liberated than ever. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri seems to be entering a worrying slump after his early season dominance, where he led both Norris and Verstappen by wide margins. His form has dropped dramatically. The Australian has now gone 4 races without a podium, finishing 5th in Austin, his lowest dry result all year. He admitted that the circuit of the Americas has never been a happy hunting ground for him, but that doesn't fully explain the gap. Piastri finished 22 seconds behind Norris, who was fighting Verstappen's Red Bull for victory. The momentum clearly is no longer in Piastri's favor. And now, with McLaren confirming there will be no further upgrades for the remainder of the 2025 season, both drivers are locked in for the fight of their lives using the same machinery. Andrea Stella made it clear, when it comes to new upgrades or new parts, this will not happen for the rest of the season. In other words, the car you have now is the car you'll end the championship with. That means driver performance, psychology, and teamwork will determine everything. But teamwork right now is McLaren's biggest weakness. Social media has exploded with fan outrage, some accusing the team of favoring Norris, others insisting Piastri is being protected. The internal investigation, according to insiders, is meant to restore unity before things spiral out of control. It's not just about discipline, it's about trust. McLaren knows how dangerous it is to have two drivers at war inside one garage. The scars from 2007, when Fernando Alonso and the rookie Lewis Hamilton tore the team apart, still run deep. Zak Brown and Andrea Stella are desperate not to repeat that mistake. Yet, the signs of history repeating are all there. Piastri's frustration in Singapore, captured in his radio message that wasn't very team-like, echoes the same kind of resentment that once fractured McLaren's golden era. Even though Norris later accepted responsibility and Piastri publicly said he was happy with how the team handled it, the unease is visible. Both drivers know what's at stake. One mistake, one strategic decision, one controversial call, and the fragile balance will collapse. Officially, the goal is to ensure fair racing and equal treatment for both drivers. Unofficially, it's also about maintaining control and stability within the team. Zak Brown now faces the challenge of restoring order before the championship fight gets out of hand. The investigation could bring changes such as clearer communication rules, defined race strategies, or even adjustments